Pop quiz. Which of these three unlikely things did I actually do yesterday? A. I listened to a solid hour of Taylor Swift music. B. I ate coconut. C. I wore a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey. I'll give you a few minutes to decide. Okay, if your answer was B, you would be correct. And I know you're all stunned because you know how much I just despise coconut. In fact, you probably remember a show we did from a few months ago when I had Embry-Riddle Assistant Athletic Director Eric Fundalevich and Embry-Riddle volleyball player Emma Barber on the show, and they were ripping me after I pitched a fit because at this sports banquet I was at the day before, I came across cupcakes that had coconut on them. So, how did it happen? How did coconut enter my mouth and I actually wound up eating it? Well, here's what happened. Yesterday was actually National Shrimp Day. I didn't know about that until like the day of myself either. So we have a tradition here at KYCA now where every Friday, Barry from El Gato Azul comes by with free food for the Lisa Live show, which airs weekdays from 9 to 10 in the morning right here on KYCA. And yesterday, well, being National Shrimp Day, he, of course, brought over containers of shrimp. And there were 2 jumbo shrimp prawns with Korean barbecue sauce and 2 fried jumbo shrimp prawns with, I think it was Kumon sauce on it. And so good, man. I mean, just yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. So anyway, after Lisa's show, we were just hanging out in the studio here and just shooting the breeze. And our board op, Drew, goes, John, I can't believe you ate coconut. And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I didn't eat any coconut. And Drew's like, no, that shrimp, the ones with the yellow sauce, that was coconut shrimp. And of course, I'm like, nuh-uh. And he's like, yeah. And apparently, it really was coconut shrimp. And I ate it. And I didn't, spit it out and start running up and down the hallways of KYCA, just absolutely freaking out because a sliver of coconut touched my tongue. Now, the way Lisa was explaining it to me is that Barry, he prepared it in such a way that you couldn't even taste the coconut. And I guess the Kumon sauce helped with that. So there you go. I actually ate coconut and I enjoyed it. So does this mean I'm going to go out and get myself an almond joy? Heck no. I mean, those things aren't made in such a way where you can't taste the coconut. So ain't no way I'm eating that. But if someone gives me that fried shrimp with the Kumon sauce again, yeah, I'm going to eat it. And now everyone's going, well, I guess next week John's going to talk about the Katy Perry concert that he went to. It's like, now I can guarantee you that ain't ever going to happen. Though I did go to the Celtic Woman concert Wednesday at Findlay Toyota Center, and now everyone's probably gaping at the radios and their screens going, what? Celtic Woman? But John, they're not a metal band. Yeah, I know they're not. And, believe it or not, there are many other genres of music that I enjoy, and Celtic Woman is one of them. And I've been listening to them pretty much since they came on the scene 20 years ago, and PBS would air their concerts. Plus, I'm also part Irish, so it's always nice to get back in touch with my heritage. And as always, they put on a really good show. The arena wasn't as packed as I expected it to be. And actually, Matt Hinshaw from the Lisa Live show, he was there, and I was sitting with him, and I was talking with him, and he said probably the late start time of 7:30 on a Wednesday night might have had something to do with the not as big as expected crowd. Still, as I said, enjoyable show. It wasn't just singing, but they also had some instrumental bits from the band. There were some step dancing performances, and I'm going to tell you, I really dig step dancing. It is just so much fun to watch. Actually, I saw a live performance of Lord of the Dance several years ago in Vegas, and man, that performance just blew me away. And to me, step dancing is what happened when the Irish saw tap dancing and went, oh, we can take that kind of dancing and we can make it even better now. And we did. The Celtic Woman, and I know they've had a lot of lineup changes over the last 20 years, but they always managed to find ladies with just incredible voices. And the three they had Wednesday night, no exception. And they also had a phenomenal violin player in Tara McNeil. And I'll tell you what, man, she just tore it up on those strings. And probably because I actually played violin when I was in elementary school and middle school. I just kind of have an affinity for violin players. So I just marvel at performers like Tara McNeil or Mia Sano or Lindsay Sterling or Celtic Woman's former violinist Mary Reed Nesbitt. See them running around the stage and dancing and twirling and jumping and still playing the violin like a boss. Whereas yours truly, when I was a kid, I would just sit in the chair and draw the bow back and forth and just hoped I sounded halfway decent. So again, great show by Celtic Woman, and makes me glad that we're seeing more concerts taking place at Findlay Toyota Center, because there was a time, and I mean even before the government kept us prisoner in our own homes during the pandemic, there was a time when there really wasn't much going on at the arena, and that has certainly changed over the past couple of years. I mean, I know Bonnie Raitt and Dwight Yoakam are coming to the Toyota Center this year. For all you country music fans, sorry, I grew up in Jersey, so not exactly a hotbed of country music there. The tribute band Brit Floyd is coming next month. That should be a cool one. And the one I really have my eye on is November. Styx returns to Findlay Toyota Center. I saw them last year. What a show they put on, man. Now, if we could have another minor league hockey team in the arena, that would be awesome, because I still miss the Sun Dogs. However, we do have indoor football over there tonight at 6. The last two IFL champions square off. So you got the Northern Arizona Wranglers versus the Bay Area Panthers. Also, collegiate sports in our area is not done for the season. On Monday, both the Embry-Riddle baseball and softball teams, they kick off the opening round of the NAIA World Series. Tuesday, the Embry-Riddle women's golf team is in Illinois for the NAIA National Championship Tournament. Then on May 22nd, the Embry-Riddle track team is in Marion, Indiana, which, by the way, is the birthplace of Jim Davis, the cartoonist who created Garfield, for the NAIA National Meet. And we have 3 members of the Embry-Riddle track team in the studio with us today. We have local boy, Dylan Eisner, a Chino Valley alum. We've got a Phoenix guy in Nick Logan from Gilbert. We've got Zoe Tazard, a triple champion at this year's Cal Pac meet. So we'll be talking to them about the Cal Pac meet, the upcoming national meet on the other side of this break as we kick off our Saturday slate of local talk. Tri-City Sports Roundup right now. Coming up at 9, Healthline with Dr. David Hancock, which will be a best of show since he's on vacation. And at 10, Drive Time AZ. So don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Tri-City Sports Roundup. John Rust with you here in the studio today. I have 3 members of the Embry-Riddle track team with us. 3 members who will be going to Marion, Indiana, the birthplace of Garfield creator Jim Davis, for the NAIA National Meet. I've got Zoe Tazard, I've got Dylan Eisner, and I've got Nick Logan. Hey, folks, thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, Zoe, I got to start with you. As I said, you were a triple champion at the CalPAC meet. Also, you took 3rd in the 10K.
Thank you.
You reminded me of that. But no, you won the steeplechase. You won, I believe, the 1,500 meter and the 5,000 meter run.
Yes, correct.
Well, talk about what it's like for someone like you taking part in 4 events over those 2 days, and of course, a lot of running, and with the steeplechase, a lot of jumping involved. So, how do you get prepared to perform in 4 events over a 2-day period like that?
Honestly, I just trusted coach all season long, and I prepared for. I obviously didn't think I was going to prepare for running 4 events at conference, but after I'd already qualified for nationals, I figured, what the heck? Let's just get a bunch of points for the team and throw me in every event, coach. I was even the alternate for the 4x4, but I never ended up doing that, thankfully, because I was dead by the end of my last race. But yeah, just trusting the process.
And Dylan, you are probably one of the more interesting stories on the track and field team because, of course, you ran at Chino Valley under their legendary coach, Mark Metz, who's always put together some really good track and field teams. But you were actually a walk-on for Chino Valley. And, again, a lot of times walk-ons, maybe they don't, kind of like, Macho Man Randy Savage said, the cream rises to the top. Sometimes walk-ons don't do that. You, however, broke the mold with that. You went from a walk-on to someone who won the 10,000K at the CalPAC meet and are moving on to the national championship meet. Just talk about this journey, how you went from a walk-on to a conference champ to a national qualifier.
Yeah, so high school, I was not really good, mostly because I just did not try. My main goal in high school was to just beat my friends, and that was it. But then once I graduated and all that, I kind of didn't really know what to do, so I just ran a little bit over summer. I lifted, and that was it. And then Coach Metz was like, "Hey, Riddle they have a time trial. You could go and walk on if you want." I was like, "Sure. What's another race, And so Coach Bray called me up and gave me all the info, and he's like, "Do you have any questions?" I was like, "No, I'll just be there." And so I barely made it, and then all of my freshman year, it was just kind of trying to get up with the pack because I was really slow compared to everyone else, and my entire freshman year was just me trying to up mileage and do faster stuff until this summer where I did 75-mile weeks. I hit a 100-mile week, and then I got really in shape. I was finally up with the top, the higher end of the group, and then I got shin splints for 4 months because I cooked it too much. So my last cross season, I was completely on the bike. I got to race 1 meet, and that was it. So it's basically just been a whole year of me training for track and for this season. So yeah.
Great. And Nick, you also did a great job there at the CalPAC meet. You were 2nd in the steeplechase, and also you took 6th in the 1,500 meter run. Well, first off, steeplechase, this is something that you don't see in high school track and field here, where it's along with jumping over hurdles and barriers, you're also jumping over water pits. What made you decide that, hey, this event looks like fun, I want to do it?
Well, yeah, just any event that involved water looked pretty enticing. Just to be able to show a little bit more athleticism and be more flexibility, and then just the grit that is involved in doing the race. It's a regular race, but with barriers, so there's another extra challenge, and it prepares you well for the next other races in cross season as well.
Good. And Zoe, of course, you won the championship on the women's side for steeplechase. And I kind of said hurdles, but looking at some of the photos, it's not just hurdles. It's kind of other sorts of barriers along with the water pits. So, talk about the strategy you need for that, because all of you are just used to running on flat tracks in high school. Now here you get to college, and it's like, oh, I got to jump over this stuff and a water pit. So just talk about the strategy you have to have in a race like that.
Honestly, I find it easier to do steeple than the 10K, because the 10K you're like a hamster running around in a wheel just again and again and again. But with steeple, you have a barrier or the water jump every 80 meters. So it's like you always have something to look for. You always have, you may be struggling this barrier, but you have to worry about the next one. You always have something to look for and something to work for. So it's mentally easier for me to do steeple than it is to do some of the other events.
Man. And of course, if you go on the Embry-Riddle Athletic webpage and you go to outdoor track and field for the women's side, you will find a really awesome picture of Zoe doing the steeplechase where you jump over this one barrier and you splash down. You go, maybe you might be able to see it here on our live stream here. But yeah, you come down, you got water splashing up all over you. Probably photo of the year for Embry-Riddle, I might say.
It's very refreshing when it's really hot. Like the first time I ever ran it at Occidental, it was what, about like 80 degrees, I'd say, in the middle of the day, and you hit the water pit and you're like, oh, this is nice. I can keep going. But then you do the races that are at like 7 p.m. and it's freezing and you're under the lights and it's cold. It's very cold.
So Dylan, did you see these two doing steeplechase? Look at it, and were your thoughts like, that looks like fun, or you're like, I think I just want to run around and around like a hamster in a wheel?
With my legs, I think they would break after like the first jump. I'll stick to my 25 laps of just mental pain.
Oh man. And well, of course, kind of the joke with cross country and I guess distance track is your practice or your punishment is our sport. So Nick, what made you decide that running wanted to be your chosen sport?
Yeah, well, in my other sports in like middle school and high school, I played soccer, and it was my punishment during that. So I wanted to be better at that punishment. So I ran cross and track during the off season, and it really helped me in soccer. And then in high school, just decided that I was a little bit better, more potential with running, something that could take me into college. So I still did both, but definitely focused a little more on running. And now here I am running for college. So it's pretty cool.
And Zoe, what about you? What made you decide that running was the sport you wanted to do instead of other sports like softball or soccer or volleyball?
Yeah, I started out playing softball and couldn't keep up with it and started running. Hurdles is actually the first event I ever ran in middle school, in 8th grade, I think it was. And my friend just convinced me to run cross country the next year, my freshman year of high school, and I stuck with it, and I always enjoyed it. There's just something about it that I'm more motivated to do that than any other sport.
Mm-hmm. And, well, Dylan, I guess kind of like you mentioned earlier, I guess you got into running because you just kind of wanted to hang with your friends, huh?
Yeah, that definitely was the start. Like, I think in high school and middle school, I kind of did not take it seriously kind of thing because I was just like, oh, I'm just here for my friends. I'm going to beat them. And then, like, as I got into college, I kind of realized that I could try way harder and like work way harder than I actually was. And I also think it's one of the most rewarding sports compared to like all the other team sports, because the euphoria you get from like doing well in a race is it's all dependent on you. In a team sport, it's more a team, but you know that you did it.
Yeah. So I guess if we go to the Oxford English Dictionary and look up late bloomer, it sounds like your picture would be right next to it.
Yeah, I would fit the bill, I think.
So I guess like any kind of advice for like maybe student athletes in your position in high school who maybe don't take the sport seriously, but it's like, well, if I get to college, maybe if I try harder, I can be successful.
I think a lot of high school athletes limit themselves and they think, oh, I'm not fast enough to go to college. I can't do this. I can't do that. But I think there's a lot of opportunities no matter where you want to go at your speed. Like you could go D3, D2, NAIA, D1, whatever you want. And as long as you're just, if you want to do it and you're enjoying it, I think go for it. Just shoot for college. Why not?
Yeah. So, Nick, what about you? When you were in high school, and of course you went to Veritas Prep down in the Valley. When you got there as a freshman and were doing sports, did you ever think of going to college or what?
Yeah, smaller school. It wasn't like the other big high schools where you had to like be on JV for the first few years and then work your way up to varsity. I was on varsity my first year. Yeah, seeing other students or other athletes in like D4, I was like we had a lot of potential. So I definitely always wanted to go to college and play, or definitely wanted to go to college. Wasn't sure about running in college until my junior senior year, when I definitely started trying a little more and started reaching out to coaches. Coach Bray was one of them, and yeah, I definitely am glad I decided to run in college.
Good. And Zoe, what about you? When you started out at high school, did you ever imagine that you would be running at the college level? Not only running at the college level, but now in your freshman season, being a 3-time conference champion and a third-place finisher in the 10K.
I would have never imagined that, but I never limited myself. I always knew I wanted to go to college, and I just kind of assumed, I really love this. I'll find a way to make it work and to run, but while also getting my education. But I never would imagine that I am where I am today and would have done so good in track, because this is really my first full track season. I've always had bad luck with injuries, family events, COVID. So this is actually my first real track season, and it's going pretty good, if I say so myself. So
I think it's going more than pretty good when you come home with 3 conference championships and you get conference athlete of the meet. So way to go.
Thank you.
All right, folks. Well, we're coming up to a break here on Tri-City Sports Roundup. In the studio with me today, I've got Zoe Tazard, Dylan Eisner, and Nick Logan from the Embry-Riddle track team, as they are getting ready to head off to Marion, Indiana on May 22nd for the NAIA National Meet. We'll be talking to them a little more on the other side of the break. But before we go to break, as always, it's time to see who shined over the past 7 days as we present the Tri-City Sports Roundup 3 Stars of the Week. Starting with the ladies, our number 3 star is Megan Kelly of the Yavapai College softball team. She had a home run and 4 RBIs in the Lady Riders' 16-5 drubbing of Central Arizona last Saturday. The number 2 star is Meredith Tutroni of the Embry-Riddle softball team. She had a 3-run home run in the Lady Eagles' 5-3 victory over Simpson in the Cal-Pac championship game last Friday. And our number 1 star of the week is the Prescott 4x400 relay team of Aubrey Kitahata, Wiley Monette, Kenzie Blanchard, and Violet Williams. They won the state championship in that event at last Saturday's state meet. Excuse me. Now for the guys, our number 3 star is Drew Barrigan of the Embry-Riddle baseball team. He homered and drove in 4 runs in the Eagles' 9-7 win over Benedictine Mesa in the Cal-Pac championship game last Friday. Number 2 star is actually a former local athlete, and that is Prescott alum Jack Mason, who's now with Wagner College Track and Field. He placed 3rd in both the long jump and the triple jump, and was named the freshman of the meet at last weekend's Northeast Conference Championship meet. And our number 1 star of the week is the Chino Valley 4x800 relay team of Javier Johns, Quentin Metz, Landon Smith, and Tony Hackey. They won the state championship at last Saturday's Division IV state meet. Congratulations to all our 3 stars of the week. Break time here on the Roundup. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to the Tri-City Sports Roundup, folks. John Rust with you here, jamming to what I think is probably some of the best bumper music we have on Tri-City Sports Roundup. If you're listening to us on the radio side, that was a band out of Italy called Windrose with their song, Diggy Diggy Hole, Digging a Hole. Basically, Windrose is, what if Middle Earth had a metal band? That would be Windrose. Anyway, I got to see them live one of these days, too. Anyway, in the studio with me today, I have Zoe Tazar, Dylan Eisner, and Nick Logan from the Embry-Riddle track team. All three of them will be in Marion, Indiana on May 22nd through I think it's the 24th for the NAIA National Championship meet. And of course, you know what time it is. We got to find out all kinds of embarrassing stuff about their teammates. So, guys, I'm going to start with you for the men's side. Dylan, who would you say is the best dressed athlete on Embry-Riddle? Who's just the team fashion plate?
I think it's Austin Lemus. He's a pilot. If he has a check ride, he's going to be the best dressed.
Zoe, I saw you shake your head on that. What's up with that?
His shorts are
Okay.
disgusting.
It's true.
Well, for us guys, it might be
Okay,
fashionable.
no, he does have a pair of
They're
shorts.
like, they're ripped and they've got paint splatters on them, and you wear them like 3 days in a row, I swear. No hate, Austin. You need some new shorts.
Maybe those are like his, comfortable shorts.
Maybe,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Emotional support shorts.
Bingo! I like that. That's what I'll call my jacket from, because I got a Phillies jacket about 25 years old, and it's like, maybe that'll be my emotional support jacket. All right, so Nick, who would you say is probably the most talkative guy on Embry-Riddle?
Kyler Castro for sure. He's got a smooth tongue and can really talk up a lot of people.
All right, so Dylan, opposite end, who's the quietest guy on Embry-Riddle?
It's probably me. Probably me. I'm not going to lie.
You wouldn't say like Jacob?
Jacob's getting out of it. Jacob
Yeah.
was a little quiet, but he's getting talkative now.
Yeah.
Good. And Nick, who would you say is probably the funniest guy on Embry-Riddle?
Yeah, Austin or Kyler. Just always can crack a joke at the right time.
Dylan, most serious guy on Embry-Riddle.
Jacob. Jacob's locked in.
And finally, Nick, who is the athlete on Embry-Riddle who can eat the most?
Kyler, once again. Yeah. Sits down, eats a whole jar of peanut butter.
And that kind of blew, and we were talking about this before the show. Zoe, you kind of find that disgusting. That it's not
No,
like
it's like dog food.
and it's not like he puts anything. He puts the peanut butter on something. He just eats it straight out of the
Yeah.
jar. Oh man. I mean, I like peanut butter myself, but I think I'd want it like on like
toast.
yeah. Not
He
like
can't
eating
eat
it.
toast. He's
He's eating
gluten-free.
gluten now.
That
He
is
stopped
true.
running.
Oh man. Okay, so Zoe, let's go on the women's side here. And I guess we got some additions with some of the soccer players on
Yeah.
there. Or maybe like go back to your cross country season. So who would you say on Embry-Riddle is the best dressed athlete on the team?
Okay, I thought about this. I'd say Kenna. I like her outfits. I like the jeans and the boots. So I'm gonna say Kenna.
Okay. Who is the most talkative athlete on Embry-Riddle?
They said me. So and I was telling you the story about our athletic director yesterday, like making a comment about how quiet I was. So I'll definitely say I'll call myself out for that one. I never shut up.
Hey, for radio, that's good. Okay, opposite end. Quietest athlete on the team.
Yeah, definitely Fanula. She's opened up a lot, but she was definitely really quiet when she came in.
Okay. Funniest athlete on the team.
Yeah, also Fanula. She can crack a joke, and she has a sense of humor like that. Sometimes it's like sarcastic, or out of nowhere it'll just be the funniest, most random joke that you don't expect. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I'm all for sarcasm. I actually own a shirt that says 0 days without sarcasm. Okay, most serious athlete on the team.
Ooh. For the girls, I honestly would. Yeah, maybe Cameron.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll say Cameron.
Okay.
It's hard. There's so little of us.
And finally, which athlete on Riddle can eat the most in one sitting?
For the girls, ooh. Honestly, yeah, I think I'll call myself out for that one. I think just recently too, like I've been running the most mileage, so I think I can't eat the most because the more mileage you run, the more you can shove in your mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep up those calories. And well, like I said earlier, Coach Bray got together with Coach Porches from the women's soccer team, brought over some of the women's soccer players, to take part in some of the shorter distance events. So what was that like, having this, all of a sudden, this explosion of new athletes on the team and all these women's soccer players now part of the distance track team?
Honestly, it was a lot of fun. It felt like we were in high school again with like a big old team, and they were just constantly smiling and laughing, and they were so happy to be there, and they weren't treating it like, oh, we have to be here. Like, they enjoyed it. They enjoyed being there, and they blended in perfectly with the girls, and it was so nice because all season long, sometimes at practice it's just been 1, 2, 3 of us. So to have that many just laughing bodies and just girls, it was a lot of fun. It was really enjoyable.
And of course, it wasn't just picking up some random soccer girls. I mean, well, we had 2 locals on there. KYCA, who was part of a state championship relay team at Prescott. Caitlin Roscoff, along with being a phenomenal soccer player, also a great track and field athlete. Ray Yoshioka, who's had All-American honors. I think she was part of a state championship relay team in Hawaii. I'm not 100% sure. But I know a couple of the Pacific Northwesters, Ella Carnahan and Grace Martinson, who unfortunately were injured. I think they were on the state championship relay team. So hopefully they'll be coming back next year and helping you out too.
That'll be nice. It was fun to run with Caitlin because I was actually her roommate in the beginning of summer when we 3 weeks before school started. So it was fun to have her on my team. You never expected it, but it was a lot of fun to be with her again.
Oh, great. And so Dylan, since you're at Embry-Riddle, what are you majoring in here?
Human factor psychology.
I didn't even know they offered that at Embry-Riddle. Okay, so for the uninitiated among us, including myself, what exactly does human factor psychology entail?
It's basically also called engineering psychology. It's engineering things around the human that's using whatever it is. So it could be like a plane, like engineering the plane so that the pilot knows how to use everything on the plane, or if it's a website, knowing how to engineer to set up the website so that like an old person can use it, so that kind of thing.
So it's almost like, finding friendly designed machinery or systems or something like that.
User design is a huge part of it.
Huh. Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that major before until
it's up
now.
and coming now.
Nice. And Nick, excuse me, your major is something that most of us who are familiar with Embry-Riddle know about. It's mechanical engineering. So how did you get into that?
My mom's an engineer, so I always looked up to her throughout high school. I always did pretty well in math in high school as well, so I knew I wanted to go into engineering. I wasn't sure where or what part of engineering, so I decided mechanical because it's the most broad. And then at Riddle, it's more tailored towards aerospace and propulsion aspects, so rocket engines, pretty cool. So
And this is your junior season. I know you Riddle student athletes, you get to go on some pretty cool internships. So have you got an internship set up for the summer?
Yeah, this summer I'm working in Prescott Valley for Superior Industries, working with more heavy mining equipment and conveyors and that kind of stuff. Looking forward to it. Start on Monday.
Great. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Of course, you'll probably have to take a few days off next week, to go to Marion.
Start 1 week, take 1 week off.
It's like, oh, you got to start this week. It's like, oh, thanks, man, but I need to take the next week off, too, because I'm running in nationals. So, Zoe, you are an aviation business management major.
Yeah, it's actually not called management. It's aviation business administration. It's wrong on the website.
Okay.
But I have a flight track, so I am flying. And I'm planning on double majoring in aeronautical science, but for scholarship reasons, I haven't declared that yet. I'm just taking the classes to fulfill those the requirements, and then eventually, once scholarship reasons subside, I can declare that major.
Gotcha. And Dylan, again, coming up in less than 2 weeks, you got the national meet, and probably a lot of people would think, oh boy, now's the time you guys got to really work hard here and everything to get ready. But actually, when it comes to something like cross country, distance track, this is the time of the year when, the term is taper off. So what are you guys going to be doing for the next 2 weeks in order to get ready for nationals?
We're gonna be we went down 10 to 15% this week in like volume, but the intensity stays the same. And then next week we're gonna be going down 10 to 15% again in volume, and probably go down on intensity as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you're running like 10,000 meters, you don't want to tuck yourself out before the
Yeah,
race.
definitely.
And I know in the past, nationals was usually held in Gulf Breeze, Alabama, where usually it's something like, oh, the temperature today is 89 degrees with 89% humidity, which can't be too much fun. Nick, have you had that experience or what?
Only on like vacation, like in the eastern states, summer months. But usually, I prefer the dry heat of Phoenix, long mornings.
Well, again, growing up in New Jersey, believe me, I know all about that. Actually, I think my graduation day from high school, and this was in June. I think the temperature was about 97 degrees and about 90% humidity. And of course, I'm wearing the black graduation robe, so that was fun. Really made me want to just get the heck out of there. So again, I mean, obviously Marion's probably not going to have the same kind of humidity, but I'm sure it's going to be warm there. So when it comes to making sure you don't dehydrate, is it going to be drinking a lot of water well before the meet to help you out?
Yeah, definitely, and with electrolytes, just eating as well, not just water, but definitely a lot of water, like 2 nights before.
So what are some of the foods that you eat before these kinds of meets to make sure you got enough nutrition, got enough calories to get you through?
Yeah, in high school, I was more rudimentary. Like I only ate like fried rice like the night before with a little bit of chicken. But in college, it's kind of more just what you can get. We usually go on trips, so like I usually get Chipotle on the way there on like the day before.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah, and you can get that. You can definitely get your rice and chicken there on those burritos,
Yep.
man. And Zoe, kind of an interesting thing about you. You are actually a first-generation American. Your parents actually came here from Scotland, home of one of my favorite bands, Ailstorm, by the way. If you like pirate metal, listen to Ailstorm. So how did your family come all the way across the Atlantic from Scotland to here?
My dad's actually an engineer, so he came here for a job, and that's really it. He just moved to Arizona, loved it. I think he came to visit. He was like a travel engineer and loved it here and decided to move the whole family.
Oh, nice. And also, you did spend some time in Texas in Round Rock, home of a minor league team, the Round Rock Express. And you have a really funny story about that. So tell the audience what that is.
I do, yeah. I did say that I played softball before I started running, and one summer I was visiting my dad before I moved there, and I think it was my stepmom had signed me up for what she thought was softball camp, but it turned out to be baseball camp for the Express team, and it was about 200 plus boys and 2 girls, and I actually ended up winning an award that I still keep to this day. So yeah.
Well, what was that award?
It was like just hardest working or something like that. I can't remember it. I have to pull it out of a box. It's sitting in a box collecting dust in my old room.
Well, I guess probably most surprising moment in your athletic career might be that.
I mean, I worked hard. I since I was like one of the only girls there, I put in extra effort. I made sure to, like be at that level, and I didn't want to like, oh, it's a girl, I wanted to show off a little.
Got to prove yourself.
Yeah, I got to prove myself.
Heck yeah. All right, and Nick, one of the things outside of your athletic career, along with being part of some state champion soccer and cross country teams down at Veritas Prep, you also were a national Spanish exam silver medalist in 2009. Oh boy, why do I have a feeling there's some interesting stories behind that? So tell us how you got that award.
I guess, yeah, it snuck onto my resume in high school, I guess.
That's on your bio on the website.
You
Yes,
wrote
it
you
is.
wrote that?
Yeah.
How
did you get involved in
I
that?
took Spanish in high school, and there was a test at the end of the year, and I guess I did not do well enough to get gold, so I got silver.
Another thing that's kind of interesting on your bio, it says you are a House Pro Consul. What exactly is that down at Veritas?
Yeah, so we have like 6 houses across the grades, 6th through 12th, and just divisions that you would kind of group into for like for event days, like field day, or we had academic field day as well. And you would just compete against the other houses, and so each house
like
had its own,
Hogwarts.
own little leader, and yeah, it was pretty fun. It was definitely one of the best parts of high school.
You were reading my mind, Zoe, because I hear houses. That's all I'm thinking of. It's like, okay, so what were you in Were you in Gryffindor? Were you a Slytherin? Were you a Hufflepuff? What? How many jokes do you get about that?
Yeah, a little bit, but
all right. And again, Dylan, like I said, coming up in a couple weeks, it's going to be the national meet. Like I said, for yourself, going from a walk-on to qualifying, how much are you looking forward to this national meet?
I'm very hyped. This is the first nationals I've made it to, so I'm glad that my work has finally paid off, even though I got injured for like 4 months. But we come back from it.
Yeah. So have you talked to Coach Metz in the last few weeks or since CalPAC and just let him know about what's going on with you or what?
I talked to him their home meet and we talked for a bit. I know we didn't really talk. He just said congratulations and all that. And we were just talking about his son Quentin Metz and what he was planning to do for college and all that.
Yeah, by the way, Quentin Metz, they had Chino Valley had their signing earlier this week. Quentin Metz going to run at Grand Canyon University, which is actually the same school that his mom and dad ran at. So just keeping up the family tradition. By the way, hopefully next week we will be having stories about the Chino Valley signees. In fact, another one going D1 is Danielle Graham, great soccer player and, of course, great track and field athlete, a state champ last year. She's going to be going to Dallas Baptist University to do track and field there. So some great stuff going on there at Chino Valley. Of course, great stuff going on at Embry-Riddle as, these three on the show. And I believe also Demetrius Love, who's also had a tremendous season. He's going to be joining you at the state meet, right, Dylan?
At nationals, yeah.
At nationals, yes. State meet. No, he will be joining you at nationals.
Yeah, looking forward to see how he's doing.
All right. So anyway, folks, we're coming up to the end of the show. So I'm going to thank Zoe Tazar, Dylan Eisner, Nick Logan for joining us on the show today. Guys, thank you again for joining us. Been a great pleasure to have you here on the show. And best of luck at the national meet in Indiana coming up in a couple weeks. And, of course, here on KYCA, we will be giving you an update on how Riddle is doing there. And, of course, we'll be giving you updates on all the Riddle teams and what they'll be doing at nationals. Zoe, Dylan, Nick, thanks again for joining us. And best of luck in Indiana.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, folks, so that'll do it for our show today. Remember, 6 o'clock tonight, kickoff between the previous two IFL championship teams, the Northern Arizona Wranglers and the Bay Area Panthers, over at the Finley Toyota Center. May want to get there early because we also got Prescott Valley Days going on, so parking could be kind of tough to find there. So if you're going to the game, get there early. All right, folks, again, thank you very much. Dr. Hancock show next. Going to be a best of show since he is on vacation then. Drive Time AZ coming up at 10 o'clock here on KYCA. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.